Okay. All right. So everyone watching this here in the live chat, appreciate you guys. We have over 2,000 viewers here on YouTube. You might be watching this also in a separate video if I cut this and posted this after the fact, after the Mets originally made the move for Darin Ruf, after everything that happened on the trade deadline. So make sure to smash that like and subscribe on. Greatly appreciate it. Let's deep dive. Let's talk about this move for the New York Mets. Dave, thank you for the $2 donation. No, the Mets are not getting Jed Lowry. Stop it with the nonsense. But the Mets acquired Darin Ruf today, and they gave up J.D. Davis. Of course, J.D.'s time with the Mets clearly felt done. I'm not surprised at all that J.D. was dealt. Thomas Szapucki, who has been shifting the bullpen as of late, has done actually pretty well as a reliever in AAA, and like 2 or 3 outings, went scoreless as a starter, has really been underwhelming. But then the Mets also gave up some top 30 prospects that they acquired over this past year or two's draft. And again, they land Darin Ruf, who can play in the infield, can't play in the outfield. We saw him in the left field. Remember the times when the Mets matched up against the Giants this year? It wasn't looking good. I'm pretty sure that fluky play also in left too, where the ball went into the netting. So Ruf, what do you get in Darin Ruf for a guy right now that, if you look at it on stat line, has a 216 average, 46 runs scored, 38 RBIs, 2 stolen bags, a 328 on base percentage, and a 701 OPS. It is 2% lower than the average player in baseball. But this is a big thing with Darin Ruf, everybody. And don't get me wrong, I do believe initially off the jump that the Mets gave up a little bit more than they probably should have in this deal, just from an asset perspective, knowing that one, J.D. Davis does have more team control. Now, granted, J.D. is not as good as Darin Ruf. There's no denying that. J.D. has been so swing and miss this year. A guy that you would expect to rake against lefty pitching like he has in the past has not been able to do that. I mean, in last night's start against Patrick Corbin, who he's been his father's entire career up until this year, if he's striking out on fastballs right down the pipe, you know something's wrong. So JD, I wish him the best in San Francisco. But it makes so much sense why the Mets parted with him there. However, when you look at Darin Ruf and what you're getting, he is exactly Daniel Vogelbach for the New York Mets, but against lefty pitching. When you see Darin Ruf, he's not a guy that is going to be raking against righties at all. He has a 570 OPS against right-handers. You're not going to see Darin Ruf match up at all against righties, the same way that you're not going to see Daniel Vogelbach or Tyler Naquin match up against southpaws at all this year. But what did the Mets been looking for, especially off the bench? In a platoon role off the bench, maybe have him start at DH at times when you really want him. That's a guy that knows how to rake against lefties, but I'd imagine he's going to be off the bench more often than not in that lefty position. You bring in someone like Darin Ruf. He has a roughly 900 OPS this season against left-handed pitching. He is literally Daniel Vogelbach, another big body, a guy that is not necessarily defensively capable. He has that defensive versatility, but nothing crazy. He profiles best as a DH for the Mets right now off the bench. Against lefties this year, a 252 average, a 364 on base, a 523 slugging, and an 886 OPS. So north of 900, as I mentioned there. And that is exactly what the Mets have been looking for from when you're looking at depth bench bats. Now, let me put it this way. If this is the only offensive acquisition that the Mets make, they don't do anything more. If they don't land a Contreras, if they don't land a JD Martinez, they don't do anything more significant than this. While the Mets will be okay, it's underwhelming, and I will tell you first and foremost, I will be disappointed that the Mets did not do anything more. Now, at the time of being live here, guys, as you're watching, we have right around 2 hours or so until the trade deadline concludes. The Mets are currently working on adding to the bullpen. Let's see if they don't just add on the bullpen, but if they add on anything else offensively. But my initial reaction to this deal for the Mets, I love this for what the Mets need right now with a guy that can come off the bench, rake against lefties. And for everyone in the live chat right now, for everyone that has said to me in my videos about Vogelbach and stuff, if you guys just go ahead and look at my previous content when discussing the breaking trade for the Mets and landing Daniel Vogelbach for Holderman, everyone and their mother, for the most part, was pissed off about that move, did not like the move. But I told you guys, Vogelbach is going to be utilized just against righties. What has Vogelbach done? He has been a blessing for the Mets. He's already put more consistent production at the DH position than what they've gotten from Dom Smith and JD Davis all year long. Darin Ruf comes in and he gives you that exact type role when the Mets face a southpaw or when they're facing lefty relievers later in the game. That's what you're getting with Darin Ruf, a guy that was a big part of the Giants' success last year when they won 107 games or so. He's definitely going to be a nice piece for the Mets off the bench and gives them quality. Whenever the Mets want to have key matchups against righties or lefties, they have versatility now, and they have guys that truly know how to take advantage against those respective pitchers and overall pitching. So that's all you need to know about the move in a nutshell. This is probably where I'll cut things off for people that watch this, say in a separate video. So for people in the live chat, I'm going to get more of your donations out, all that fun stuff. Like I said, the Mets did give up a decent amount of assets here, more than I expected them to. When I initially saw the trade being discussed, I thought the Mets were acquiring a couple prospects, not parting with them. Now, am I concerned about these prospects and panning out? No, I'm not. You're looking at 2 guys that are top 30 for the Mets. the likelihood of them becoming anything that will hurt the Mets in the end is very slim to none. I like this move for the Mets a lot. This, again, addresses a need for a bench bat that rakes against lefties. Look, let me put it this way. When this guy's doing better against lefties than Pete Alonso, that gives you a good idea as how piss poor the Mets have been for a large portion of the year against southpaws, either as starters or relievers. You help bring that certainty off the bench for you. That is what you get in Darin Ruf. I'm very curious to see if the Mets make any more moves at all. And if they don't, then for right now, at least Darin Ruf off the bench, that is surely a nice move. JD Davis, wish you the best in San Francisco, but the Mets got a guy that actually is effective and comes in a role that he is supposed to be doing, and which JD Davis was simply not able to do for the entirety of the 2022 season.